So I started working as a page at NBC in May of 1984, and I worked there until December 1985. And that's really where the seeds of the Bewitched book, strangely enough, came into being. Because as a page, you get to work in several different departments of NBC, and I wanted to work in publicity. Well, around that time, NBC was doing a TV movie called I Dream of Jeannie 15 Years Later, and it starred Barbara Eden, and it was based on the original show that NBC had done in the 60s. But I thought if they were going to do a reunion about a blonde magic woman who was in love with a dark-haired mortal guy, it should have been Bewitched, because Bewitched was first. So I wrote one. And at around the same time, Bill Asher, who was the original writer, director, and producer on the original series, and was also married to Elizabeth Montgomery, star of Bewitched, he was developing a new Bewitched series called Bewitched Again. So when I had first contacted Elizabeth about doing a reunion, she wasn't interested in that. And then Bill, however, saw my script for the Bewitched reunion, and he hired me for the new Bewitched series, which was very exciting. And apparently Elizabeth was going to come on as Samantha, introduce this new witch and new mortal, and then pop off forever. So the financing for that series unfortunately fell through, so I still had all this Bewitched energy, and that's when I came up with the idea to do a book. So Elizabeth didn't want to do the reunion, but she was maybe going to do that new pilot with Bill Asher, and I thought maybe she'd grant interviews for the Bewitched book, and that's what it was called at the time. And so Bill talked with her, and she agreed. And finally, I had tried calling her for like 6 months. He actually gave me her phone number, Elizabeth Montgomery's phone number. And I called her, and after 6 months, she called me back, which was just astounding. I remember I did my laundry, and I missed her call, and there was her voicemail on my answering machine at the time. This was the 80s, we had answering machines. And she said, I'll never forget it, she said, "Hi, Herbie, this is Lizzie Montgomery." Lizzie Montgomery, I couldn't believe it. So I called her back. I'm calling Elizabeth Montgomery back. I told her I'm sorry I missed her call and that I was doing laundry, and she said, "Well, as you should do laundry." It was just a wonderful moment. And we scheduled a time to meet. I had 4 different meetings with her. I was very nervous. I got 4 new tires on my car, which I really couldn't afford at the time to buy 4 new tires, but I did because I didn't want to drive there with 4 old tires. And she opened, I knocked on, I drove in her driveway, and it was a gated driveway, and I met Elizabeth Montgomery, and I introduced myself as I walked into the door, and then I tripped over her coffee table. And we both laughed, and it was kind of broke the ice. I broke my foot and broke the ice. And it was wonderful, and we wanted to have 4 different interviews, 4 different sessions where she really opened up to me. And the first thing she asked me was, why are you doing this? Why are you writing this book? And I explained to her that I love Bewitched, that it was about prejudice and true love, and it had strong priorities and family values, and Samantha and Darren loved each other despite their differences, and Samantha loved him for who he was, and not for what he could buy her, because whatever he could buy her, she could, twitch up something better. It didn't matter. She didn't need money. She loved him. So after I explained all of that, she went, "Okay." And she goes, "Because Bill Asher wanted me to talk to you," and he never says that. He never says, you should talk to this person, but he said, "You need to talk to Herbie. He really is concerned with this entity known as Bewitched." And it was meeting her and hearing that it was just a magical moment.